following is rated PG-13.
You know, and I'm very open about this stuff. I think people should talk about money. I wish more people had talked openly about money so I could have learned more about it when I was younger. You know, my podcast franchise of Prof G, Pivot, you know, it's like a $15 to $20 million a year business. We can't spend $3 or $4 million if we tried. I mean, there's only so many producers and sound effects you can have. So it's a massively profitable business.
Let's move Scott over for 1 second and evaluate what he's just said in terms of profit and margin. His top end estimate is $20 million in turnover and $3 million of expenses, giving him $17 million gross profit and an 85% margin. His low end estimate is $15 million in turnover, $4 million in expenses, giving him $11 million of gross profit and a 73% margin. But as he states, they can't spend that level in expenses, even if they tried, and most of the setup capital will already be accounted for to reach the success he already has. Moving on to valuation. Working on a standard multiple of 3 to 5 times profit, we can work with the same best and worst case figures. This means the assets Scott is talking about have a potential valuation of between $33 and $85 million, without accounting for the obvious variables, such as Scott being a key man in the equation. Is it as valuable without him? Let's bring Scott back in here.
Last week, I found out an investment. The investment I was most excited about, this text-based primary care healthcare messaging company. Loved it. Tier 1 VC, lucky to get into the deal. Baller CEO, investors that are like the titans of industry. I invested $5 million, a lot of money for me. I found out last week it's a zero, went out of business, pulling the plug. The investment I would have been most excited about. $5 million is a lot of money. It's not a lot of money to me right now. I never put more than 3% of my assets in any one thing.
Not quite sure why Colin Samir moving so slowly, but hey ho. Assuming Scott is being open and honest here, we can reverse engineer his words. Assuming $5 million is exactly 3% of his assets, probably isn't, then we would assign Scott assets worth $166 million. In terms of his net worth, whilst we don't know his liabilities, we can safely assume his net worth is north of $40 million, as represented by this Google search.
So here's the thing. I was bummed out for about 30 minutes, and then I was fine. Because diversification is my Kevlar. I can take a bullet to the chest, and it may knock me off my feet, but I get right back up.
Thank you for watching. The algorithm thinks you'll enjoy this or this. As we sit below 1,000 subs currently, we'd really appreciate your sub. Scan this QR code to save it for later, or I can just sell you data to the Chinese.